for all your comments over there. Okay, and I see SDGs are transformative. Okay, and that's the main goal of them. Someone else said, if these are the facts and they're so stark, is any sustainable development taking place? We'll have a look at that. There's a video I'm going to show you regarding that also. Okay, so so thank you very much, and I'm once again going to stop the chat over there, and okay. So now we're going to the second part of our presentation on the SDGs. And the second part really looks at how the SDGs can be used as a tool by rights holders and by states to hold states accountable for what they promise to do. So let me share my screen for a moment. All right, so by now you are familiar with the 17 SDGs, and you notice that in the middle it says the global goals for sustainable development. Each of those words carry so much weight. Global, goals, sustainable, development. We could unpack each of those words, okay? And so keep that in mind as we go through this presentation. And what's a purpose, as Terry pointed out? Okay, the purpose is transforming our world, making it a better place. So that's what the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development sets out to do. Earlier, in our earlier training, we talked about rights holders and duty bearers. So when we talk about transforming our world, who are the duty bearers? Yes, it is the states. It is the governments in our countries. And who needs to hold them accountable? The rights holders, you and me, NGOs, and other UN member states. The new agenda is ambitious, seeks to leave no one behind. And as you read these words or hear these words, think of your own situation. To what's in your locality, are there people being still left behind? The new agenda aspires to transform the world in which we live. To what extent has that taken place? To what extent are we going backwards now with all the conflicts that are taking place? The present one in Ukraine, Afghanistan, Myanmar. Well, we can go around the globe and name countries that are in crisis. And if countries are in crisis, then the people, the least advantaged, they are the ones being left behind. Yes, this is aspirational. And we need that. We need that. We need something to hold us up to our responsibilities. We need that to hold our duty bearers accountable. The 2030 Agenda contains a preamble which serves as a communication tool presented under the themes of the people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. These are the 5 themes into which the 17 SDGs can be divided. These interlinked themes are key to sustainable development. And so in a pictorial form, we have the 5P key themes represented. People. Terry, can you hear me? You have to unmute yourself, Terry. People, end poverty and hunger in all forms and ensure dignity and equality. Prosperity, ensure prosperous and fulfilling lives in harmony with nature. This is what our duty bearers should be working towards for all people in their state. Peace.
I'm okay now, Tino.
Okay.
Foster peaceful, just, and inclusive societies.
Yes. If there's peace in our locality, we are so fortunate. Partnership.
Implement the agenda through a solid global partnership.
Is that happening among our states? That's what the UN was set up for. Planet.
Protect our planet's natural resources and climate for future generations.
And I know many of you are spreading that awareness among the people and the children that you work with. And all these 5 Ps, people, prosperity, peace, partnership, planet, are all needed for sustainable development. If one of them is missing, well, sustainable development is going to go sliding down. And understanding this and realizing this, in 2015, all 193 United Nations member countries signed on to the 17 Sustainable Development Goals to create the future we want in 2030. To create the future we want. We want for our people. We want for the global citizen, every global citizen in 2030. We are in 2022 now. Are we on track? Let's check. I'm going to play a little video now, a short video. So I'm just going to share that with you. speed up progress. We continue to consume the earth, forests, shrink. And the high-level political forum can lead the way. So I'm just going to, and now we're going to look at what is this high-level political forum. Just going to change my screen. So are we on track? We made progress. Yes, we have. But we are not there yet. We are not on track. We need to go faster. So is there a mechanism then to hold states accountable to actions carried out around the 5P key themes towards the realization of the SDGs? Is there a mechanism, a review mechanism? And yes, there is. It is called the High-Level Political Forum. The High-Level Political Forum is the main United Nations platform on sustainable development. It meets annually for 8 days at the UN in New York, and its main role is the follow-up and review of the SDGs at the global level and at the state level. All 193 states that have signed up to the SDGs are encouraged to voluntarily present their national review of the progress made towards the realization of the SDGs at the HLPF. So how do they do that? They do that using a framework called the Voluntary National Reviews, or the VNRs. The Voluntary National Reviews are voluntary. So states volunteer to do this review. They are state-led, and they are undertaken by all 193 states, both developed and developing countries. So if that's what the VNRs are, if they're voluntary and they're state-led, how are they different from the other UN review mechanisms? If you remember from a past session of ours, the treaty bodies is a review by independent experts in the field and is quite incisive. The UPR is a peer review, states reviewing states. So then what is the VNR? The VNR is a self-introspective review where states are encouraged to look at themselves, at the progress that they have made in achieving the objectives of the 2030 agenda in achieving sustainable development. How their actions have led to a transformation, a positive transformation in the 5 Ps. the targets and indicators of the SDGs that Terry touched on, the targets and the indicators form the basis for these reviews taking place within the state first, and then at the voluntary national review conducted by the high-level political forum in New York. So how can NGOs, rights holders, play a key role in holding a state accountable during the HLPF? By using the same tools that the state uses, the targets and indicators, NGOs can analyze the data found on official government websites. It's all there for you to go and research and present their analysis in the form of a review report on the realization of the SDGs by a state. And even though NGOs cannot participate directly in the VNR at the HLPF, they can organize with member states side events. And at these side events, they can talk about their reports and hold their state accountable. So this is how NGOs can use the SDGs, the targets and indicators, as a tool for advocacy, holding states accountable as duty bearers. So the VNRs are a self-introspective review. So if the UPR is a peer review, the VNRs are a self-introspective review by a state in front of its peers. And it's voluntary. No state is forced to participate, but all states are encouraged to participate. And since 2016, when the first VNR was conducted, all except 5 countries have participated in the process till date. And that's counting countries that are participating also for the first time in 2022, in July of this year. So, can you guess which are the 5 countries that are still to participate in this process? Let's see how many you got correct. Here they come up. Haiti, Myanmar, South Sudan, the US, and Yemen. This year, from 5th to the 15th of July 2022, 45 countries will present their voluntary national reviews at the 2022 HLPF in New York. And the theme for the HLPF 2022 is Building Back Better from the Coronavirus Disease, while advancing the full implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Look at that. Building back better. What's those key words? Advancing the full implementation. They realize that they are being left behind. And so while these 45 countries will be reporting on the progress that they have made to a sustainable development on all 17 SDGs, they are going to focus actually on 5 this year. And the 5 that they're focusing on is SDG 4, quality education, SDG 5, gender equality, SDG 14, life below water, SDG 15, life on land, and SDG 17, partnerships for the goals. And now I'm going to take you to a site that you can go to. There it is on the screen, but I'll be sending it to you later. Right? And over here, we have a lot of information regarding the SDGs. So I'm once again going to share my screen, change the screen. And so this is the site. It's called sdgs.un.org. And it's a United Nations site. And there's lots of information here. Okay, I'm just going to share with you some of it. If you look over here, the HLPF. So I'm going to click on the HLPF. Okay. And when I click on HLPF, okay, I see over here Voluntary National Review Database. So let me click on that also. And when I look at the Voluntary National Database, okay, it tells me that there have been 302 VNR since 2016. But if I go to the left over there to these buttons and I click on 2022, it tells me which are the countries in 2022, the 45 countries that are going to present their voluntary national reviews. And here they are. And you notice that Andorra, with that little star at the top, this is going to be its second review since 2016. Argentina, it's going to be its third review. And some countries have even gone to 4 reviews. Uruguay, it's going to be their 4th review. And if you click, so if you want to check when your country had a review, or you can just go to these buttons over here. So if I go to 2022 over there, okay, I see that India had its review in 2020. Okay, here, India. And if I click on India, okay, I can read the full report. Let me show you that report. Okay, if I click there, this is what I'll see. India VNR 2020, a decade of action, taking SDGs from global to local. And this is their report. Okay, so, so this is a very good site for you to explore and to find out a little more about how your state, how your country has engaged with the HLPF. Okay, all right. So I'm going to stop sharing over there. Lovely. So we just have a look at some of the questions that have popped up. There aren't too many. Okay. And so Terry, would you like to take any of the questions that have popped up first?
Well, in general, the people, everybody has kind of said, you know, there are targets and indicators, but are they measurable enough? Is progress too slow? And there's too much to be done by 2030 timeline. Progress is too slow. One was, world is too reliant on petroleum. And as a result of this, there's increase in commodity prices, et cetera, et cetera. And that is true. So how are we going to change our transport systems, et cetera, and become more sustainable that way? One question was, why is the review taking place at the UN in New York when a country reviews itself? And I suppose the answer to that is that there are country representatives, high-level country representatives in New York already, and that gives it a place for the review to take place, instead of moving everybody else somewhere else, because under the auspices of the United Nations that it takes place. Another question was, why are people still hungry? And one of the slides showed how much food is wasted worldwide. So what are the infrastructure challenges for distribution of food and how we distribute food around our world? Prosperity, that word, one of the 5 Ps, was also a question. The question was, how do poorer people become prosperous or get increase in prosperity? And the wealthy, therefore, need to become less prosperous, which is a valid comment. Yeah, and the difference between the MDGs and SDGs was highlighted. The SDGs are transformative and inclusive and are meant to leave no one behind. And the VNR, important, going from the global to the local, and that the United Nations site you put out there is very, very informative, Tino, and it gives the NGO, the person, something to work on where they can advocate with their local government at local level and at national level. That's about it that I've picked up, Tino. I don't know if you've got any more.
I think you've done a wonderful job of making a synopsis of all that was there. But yeah, a lot of the questions that they are asking, Terry, okay, there are already answers.
Yes.
There are already answers, but they're important questions to ask.
Yes.
And that's where advocacy starts, by asking these questions. And so I'm so happy to see and hear these questions over there. Okay, and don't let them go. Don't let them go. Terry and myself can't give you answers to many of these questions, but that's fine. Okay, explore them with the people you work with your family. Okay, the important thing is to create awareness. Part of advocacy is creating awareness, and part of our training today is also creating that awareness. But that awareness has to spread, it has to go. And so from you, okay, think of 5 people that you can share this awareness with, okay? And that's how it's going to spread. And once it begins to spread, it will be like a fire. Just think of Greta Thunberg, okay? She was one girl, okay, sitting outside Parliament on the steps, okay? And her movement became a global movement. Okay, so nothing is impossible, right? When she was sitting on the steps, I'm sure she did not think that one day Fridays for Climate would become a global movement. Okay, so share that awareness with everyone.